Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Upenyu Majee. I'm the project manager for the Ubuntu Dialogues project at Michigan State University. On behalf of the Ubuntu Dialogues team, I would like to both extend a very warm welcome and to thank you for joining us for the Ubuntu Practitioner Symposium. As I'm sure most of you know, the Ubuntu Dialogues project is an Andrew W. Mellon Foundation funded partnership between the African Studies Center at Michigan State University and the Stellenbosch University Museum at Stellenbosch University. The partnership is geared toward establishing new and strengthening existing connections and cooperation between universities, museums, and communities. We have imagined the Practitioner Symposium as a much needed platform to discuss the constraints, but also the opportunities and the promises of Ubuntu, of Pan-Africanism, and of decolonization, both as concepts and as practice. Of special interest is where these concepts intersect and the potential that those intersections hold for creating sites of memory and dialogue in the domains of cultural heritage, sports, and creative arts. The format of the symposium is intentionally participatory and conversational, the way we would chat with each other if we were sitting around a fire, roasting corn or marshmallows, depending on what you prefer. As such, we have asked panelists to not prepare formal presentations, but to come ready to engage in dialogue with each other and with all of us on the aspects of their work that keep them awake at night. We have therefore made the decision to set this up as a meeting instead of as a webinar. The meeting format allows all of us to see who is in attendance and to connect and engage with each other to the extent that the virtual environment permits. In as much as we are shooting for a robust engagement, we also recognize the time limitations that constrain our ability to do justice to the breadth, the depth, and the height of the meanings, interpretations, and applications of Ubuntu, Pan-Africanism, and decolonization. For that reason, we would like to propose that we treat this symposium as the beginning of many more such cross-sectoral and transnational conversations. In fact, Mariki, who is my counterpart at Stellenbosch University, is taking the lead in organizing the next symposium, which we are planning for later this calendar year. We will be sharing information about that symposium and about other upcoming Ubuntu Dialogues webinars as it becomes available. To make the most of the space and the time that we have, I would like to invite you to utilize the chat box to introduce yourself and to post any comments and questions that come up along the way. If you are up to it, it would really be nice if your self-introduction would go beyond the usual references to formal titles and institutional affiliations. You could elect to share some of the reasons why this symposium and the issues we are addressing matter to you, why you are looking forward or what you are looking forward to the most in this space, and what unique experiences and contributions you bring to the conversations. Beyond introducing yourself and beyond reading other people's posts, we hope that you can add value and enrich the conversations by really listening to each other and by responding respectfully, especially to those whose views you might not agree with. In a meeting of this size, it is not possible to give everyone the chance to speak as much as they would like to. If time and circumstances allow, moderators might choose to let you unmute your mic to speak, but for the most part, the chat box is how we are going to take part in the conversations. This is important because in the event that time does not allow us to get to every post, we can capture all the comments and questions so that they can inform our plans for the next symposium and other future programs and engagements. Even though we would love everyone to attend the whole program, chances are some of you have other commitments, and so you will be coming in and going as schedules allow. No matter how much of the program you end up attending, we kindly request that you provide us with feedback on what we should consider as we plan future programs. For those who would prefer to provide the feedback before they leave today, we will have the link to the feedback form in the chat box. Otherwise, we'll be sending the link in an email right after we are done today. Before we transition to the opening remarks, I would like to note that we value the relationships and the connections that are sure to emerge from this symposium. We have therefore created room in the program for both reflections and networking in small breakout rooms. The way this is going to work is that after the first 3 panel sessions, we will randomly assign you into breakout rooms of not more than 10 people each. You will have about 30 minutes in the rooms to get to know each other a little more and to think together about the opportunities for and the challenges of centering Ubuntu, Pan-Africanism, and decolonization in your work. We hope that this coming together across space, across age and professions can support efforts to build communities of practice across existing divides. Lastly, I have the great honor of introducing Dr. Jamie Monson. Dr. Monson, I want to hand over to you right now, but before that, I would like to request that everyone mute themselves so that we don't have to deal with the background noise that comes in if we remain.
Thank you very much, Upenyu, for this wonderful introduction. And as the director of the MSU African Studies, I want to also extend appreciation for our Ubuntu Dialogues team that did so much hard work to bring all of us here today, especially Upenyu Majee, who really had the vision for this dialogue event for practitioners from all across the world. And also for those in the background that make it happen, especially Nicole McKinsey, who is our wonderful tech person for the event, and also Beza Teshome Desta, who's also been doing so much work behind the scenes. Thank you very much to our team. It's a very important and significant day for us because today we are bringing together practitioners and new community partners for an open dialogue about the meaning and practice of Ubuntu. And I'm looking forward to this very much. And especially a warm welcome I would like to extend to our South African partners. And I would now like to hand over to Bongani Mgijima, the director of the Stellenbosch University Museum, as he will be sharing some introductory remarks. Over to you, Bongani.
Thank you very much, Jenny, for that introduction. Colleagues, facilitators, panelists, and community members. In South Africa, on occasions like this, we normally say all protocol observed. So those who've been to South Africa will understand what that phrase means. I am very happy to see you all here this afternoon. It's afternoon here in South Africa, this morning on the other side, and to welcome you to this edition of the Ubuntu Dialogues. Thank you very much for coming. As Upenyu and Jamie has mentioned, the purpose of today's dialogue is to bring together academics, practitioners and community members to reflect and rethink sites of memory and dialogue, focusing specifically on the themes of Ubuntu, Pan-Africanism, and decolonization, as Upenyu has mentioned. Before I do what I've been asked to do, colleagues, please allow me to talk briefly about the Ubuntu Dialogues program so that I give you a bigger picture of the program. The Ubuntu Dialogues is an exchange program between Stellenbosch University in South Africa and Michigan State University in the United States. This program has been made possible by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, as has been mentioned. The aim of Ubuntu Dialogues is to build bridges between young people, specifically in South Africa and in the United States. The program enables 10 students from Michigan State University and 10 students from Stellenbosch University to engage in facilitated online conversations 4 times per annum over a period of 3 years. Some of the topics that the students have dealt with included topical conversations like the hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag Fees Must Fall in South Africa, decolonization, gender-based violence, and many other things that students deem fit. What we have noticed is that these conversations have become so successful that the students are demanding more and more of these, and are demanding more time for these transatlantic conversations. The second aim of Ubuntu Dialogues is to transform the lives of young people. We've put in place a graduate student fellowship where we place students. Stellenbosch students will have been placed at institutions based in the United States, and Michigan State University students would have been placed at our partner institutions here in South Africa. Unfortunately, this element has been disrupted by COVID-19, but we are busy reworking it to suit the global pandemic. The purpose of doing so is to actually give students practical work experience in a context that is different from theirs, and to actually give them skills that will enable them to function as citizens of a global village, because the village is actually becoming very globalized. So these are the attributes that future graduates would need, being able to function in a multicultural environment. The third component of our program is an academic seminar exchange program, which is aimed at developing early academic scholars from what we in South Africa we refer to as previously disadvantaged communities. I think in the US, you use the phrase ethnic minorities in both South Africa and the United States. So the total beneficiaries over the 3-year period will be 21 early career scholars. And the envisaged output basically will be a publication, which we are working very hard to put together. The last component of this project is a digital platform, which we are still developing, which will enable us to kind of develop communities of practice. One panelist, I think it was Nyaka, mentioned a circle, Ubuntu circle. So we aim to kind of move towards that direction digitally. So Nyaka, you will be pleased to hear that we are going towards that direction. So we hope that we will be able to sustain these dialogues into the future using that kind of a digital platform. So I was just giving you a helicopter overview of the entire Ubuntu Dialogues project. Before I conclude, let me again, or for the first time, thank you to all the panelists, the facilitators, and the members of the community who have made time to make this edition of the Ubuntu Dialogues possible. I don't think without you, this would have been possible. I would also like to thank our colleagues from Michigan State University. My colleague Jamie has already mentioned some of the names for putting together this wonderful program. I'm sure we are really going to learn a lot today. I am very delighted, colleagues, to see that the program caters for everyday practices of Ubuntu. And I'm very delighted to see that members from the community, communities of practice and outside of the academia and outside museums are also represented in the panel. So I would like to wish you a very fruitful dialogue, and we look forward to learning more about your work and to look at synergies and possibilities or future collaborations. And before, again, I return the virtual mic, I want again to thank you all on behalf of the Ubuntu Dialogues team. With those few words, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is very good to see all of you today. Enkosi, dankie. Thank you.